about these two programs that are extraordinary. This is the first time we've actually come on a live broadcast to talk about these, so I'm super excited. And let me introduce Suzanne here as we get going. Suzanne Giesemann is a highly respected spiritual teacher and medium. She has written 13 books on spirituality and life after death, and her transition from senior military officer to her current life is featured in the award-winning documentary Messages of Hope, based on her own memoir. She is also the founder of the Awakened Way teachings and was included on the 2022 Watkins list of the 100 most spiritually influential people on earth. Suzanne is joining me today to discuss wisdom and guidance from beyond the veil and how tapping into higher consciousness and the support of transitioned loved ones is a valuable tool that anyone can learn to use to advance their conscious journey. So, and of course, Humanity's Team is a 501c3 nonprofit. We're all about supporting the conscious journey. So we have a lot of really good stuff that we're going to get to here today. We have some clips that we're going to bring in here too. But as we get started, Suzanne, as we mentioned, this program, so there's a free program that you can sign up for now, okay? It's with Suzanne Giesemann, Eben Alexander, who wrote the book Proof of Heaven, which was a New York Times bestseller, and Karen Newell, who's extraordinary, maybe not as well known, but really extraordinary. So the three of them came together with me, and we recorded a free program called Wisdom and Guidance from Beyond the Veil. We'll put a link here up on this broadcast, so you can go and register. We're going to be doing a live broadcast as we unveil it. Suzanne's going to be there with me, with Evan and Karen. So be sure to sign up. I mean, it's a free program. And then there's a program that follows, a masterclass called Unlocking the Intelligence of the Afterlife. And that's for people who want to go deeper into what we discussed during the free program. So very exciting. So Suzanne, let me come over to you. As we were sharing in the green room before coming on, what an extraordinary program to put you together with Eben Alexander and Karen Newell, huh?
Yeah, I was so excited when we all submitted the different modules that we'll be teaching. So synergistic, each of us different, but all leading to the same place, to understanding our wholeness, that we're part of something so much greater, and how to tap into it with our unique subsets that we bring to the table. What a wonderful group you've brought together.
Yeah, well, we are excited. We, just like you, we actually, you have spirit right there, right now, who'll actually you'll say, oh, what was that? And you'll be bringing in these things live. Works a little different for us, but we're inspired all the time of, go, make conscious living pervasive world by 2040. Oh, bring these leaders together.
Hang on a second, Steve. Those spirits that are always right here just interrupted you because they said you're wrong. We all have spirit right here. It's not just me. And it's my goal and my mission to teach all of you how to tap into it as easily as I do, because that's our birthright.
Yeah, thank you for that. So that's right. And this is what Suzanne does, is as we know, she shares these extraordinary mediumship things where this happened and that happened in sessions, and people are pretty, it's jaw-dropping what they learn. But of course, your real enthusiasm is not that. You love teaching people so that they can all day long be there, guided, informed, supported during their conscious journey, right?
That's it. It's, rather than give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. So that's what we do. We have methods and systems that work. We show you how to get evidence and validate that you are really, really tapping into the greater reality, including your loved ones who have passed, your guides, your angels. I mean, this is a wondrous, wondrous world, and I was not aware of it for half of my life. So don't worry if you haven't been seeing spirits or hearing angels till now. I didn't even believe they existed for most of my life, and now there is absolutely no doubt. I guarantee you there is a greater reality, and you're part of it right now.
Yeah, there's no such thing as death at all, right? So hopefully in our lifetime, the physical body, of course, we transition and so on, but this word death and the understanding that we have today in the mainstream will fall away, and we'll just realize that was an earlier, part of our evolution as we journey into what sometimes they call Homo universalis, or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, I love that you use that word evolution, Steve, because that is what this is really all about. It's not just about feeling good right now, which absolutely comes from learning these truths. It's about when we cross the veil and your guides look at you, they're going to say, so what did you learn? What did you gain? What did you bring back? How did you help the whole? You know, we report in, and hopefully we brought more love into this world, and we've evolved as human beings and as a whole. That's the goal.
Amen. Yeah, and this life review, that's really all we're looking at. Yeah, not the Maserati, not the mansion, not the bank account, So it's wonderful. So and where we create the opportunity, just as we did. Like you mentioned, and you were senior military officer, didn't kind of back there. I was likewise, grew up Catholic Church. I had just very, very, very different understandings, and come into these new understandings. And of course, there's no fun in just understanding them. You have to live into them. That's where the fruit is, living into these new understandings. And that's really, where we're going with this, of just really the invitation and possibility in life, as you mentioned, going back with some really neat stuff at the end of our life.
Yeah.
Where, boy.
And you can enjoy the Maserati while you're here or not. You have a choice, but you no longer feel that that's the be all and end all. I know you know that. Your new book is just fabulous to that end, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So, and financial wealth, it can be it's a wonderful tool, where it's used as a tool. It's just not the destination, which I talk about in the book, of just that mirage, the oasis. It's always out there, where one amount of money usually then becomes double that and double that again and so on. And that's not really where we find.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. I just feel kind of high right now. Just all these ideas are just flooding in. They have been all morning. And one of the things that everybody in this new program will learn from Dr. Eben Alexander as a neurosurgeon is how much the brain acts as a filter for us. And one of the problems with our left brain is it's programmed to make us always want more, more, more. So even when you get that fortune, even when you get that Maserati, even when you become enlightened, you always want more. So once you realize it's just the program, now we can just relax and say, okay, fine, but I'm really content right now with just being. Well, that's beautiful, huh?
Yeah, which is the real deliciousness of life and flow like that. Yeah. So, and boy, you three really put it together again. And Eben Alexander, again, proof of heaven. So he's the neurosurgeon, right? Academic neurosurgeon that had this extraordinary near-death experience. And so he talks about that, takes people through what happened. And then he's put all of this through peer review. So he's still very respected in the academic community and in science circles because he's really stayed with peer review. He's not afraid to say, look at it. This is what happened. And of course, as he shares during the program, he says all the way back to Plato, there were these NDEs that were the near-death experiences that were talked about. So he brings all of that in with all of this rich color, even including his sister, which was an extraordinary thing in this whole afterlife experience. And then Karen Newell, who we referenced here, who is extraordinary in her own way. So with brainwave entrainment, and she talks about the primacy of the soul and heart-centered consciousness, and really, really extraordinary teachings that she brings to this program. So let's talk a little bit, go a little deeper into this program, these two programs together, and things that you did that were a little different, that you enjoyed because it was, we were looking for something that was a catalyst alongside Eben, alongside Karen. Any things that you want to go deeper into here now, Suzanne?
I just love that when you connect daily with spirit, which is what I encourage all of us to do, you're never at a loss for new things to share with each other. So my teaching will always come back to the awakened way principles, which is the foundation of my teaching. That, number one, you are not only human. Number two, you're part of one big web that connects all that is. And number three, that the creative and healing force of the universe is love. It will always come back to that. So the program is filled with that. But it has the latest sharing from my team in spirit, the latest teaching, the latest evidence from my readings with people. And I know I even brought into this one, the teaching about how important harmony is in our lives. And I pulled out my flute and gave a little example of how we can sometimes be a little flat and a little sharp. So I get a little playful, literally, in the teaching. So balancing the foundations plus brand new information, even for people who have studied with me in the past. It was just a lot of fun to put those modules together.
Yeah, beautiful. And that isn't all of what you just shared is so true. There's this unfolding. And you actually were referenced this earlier. There's just always more. There's more. I'll even sit with, even in the last 24 hours, things come to me that like, wow, that is, and I'll go write it down. I need to go spend more time with that. It's this unfolding that on this conscious journey where there's a deeper and deeper and deeper understanding and a deeper opportunity to live into these things. Yeah, like where you're
if I could say, if I could share, Stephen, you know, it said we're on the road. We've only been out about 10 days. I'm getting used to this bed in this RV again. So I just decided the last 2 nights I was trying some melatonin just to sleep a little better through the night. And I've only tried it 2 nights in a row. And last night I went to take that nice natural supplement. And the guide said, nope, we're going to need you in the middle of the night. We don't want you having anything interrupting your sleep except us. And I said, oh, really? So I always have a pad of paper beside my bed. And sure enough, I filled 4 sheets with ideas for this revision I'm doing to a manuscript. And I was a little bit irritated at the lack of sleep. But when I looked at what I got in the morning, it's phenomenal. So this wisdom and guidance is available to all of us. And they knew that I needed to be in just my natural state. And sure enough, it followed. So I just encourage everybody to be aware you're always helped and to always be listening and paying attention, giving that space to yourself to be aware when insights come.
Absolutely. Yeah. Boy, even, you know, for me in the last couple of years, going from the kind of prayer that I had, which I'd say a couple of years ago was a written prayer, which was beautiful, and I created myself. And it was kind of a vision type prayer that I'm living into, which can be very powerful. But to even much more than that, where now, one, I do the Bless Me method, where I want to bring in my dad and other people, you know, in the afterlife that want to comment, especially where I'm looking at family kinds of matters. I'll do Suzanne teaches different methods of meditation. One is she calls Bless Me, which is very powerful. And then another one is more metaphysical, where I'm really seeing, as we know, everybody here is conscious. That's why we'd be in the green room. We're partnered with Suzanne, her humanities team, which means we're in the middle of this great shift, right? It's the most unbelievable shift in the history of this planet. We're right in the middle of it now, and where I'm just seeing into that future where oneness, where awakened oneness is there, where this conscious living is pervasive worldwide by 2040. What you and I've talked about, which I think will get a lot more discussion in these years ahead, the new spirituality or the 21st century spirituality, which is this whole embodiment of this, where, I mean, it'd be fun to put words to that, you know, where we really feel that we're a vessel of spirit, and we're in that state of flow where, you know, we're really living consciously. We're sort of not of this world. We're in the world, but we're not of the world. So
that's right.
All of those kinds of things.
Yeah. That word shift that you use, I love that there are always different levels of interpretation of life at all times. So the shift that all humanity is going through is one level, but at a personal level, the most important action you can take moment to moment is that all-important shift from thinking I'm only human and I'm separate from each other, making that shift just like that to now I'm in soul awareness. It's a more expanded and open awareness. I've shifted to wholeness now. And now it's not me and you, Steve, it's us and we. That shift, if you remember to do that throughout your day, will change your life and add to that humanity's shift that's taking place.
Absolutely. The word that came to me, one of these last 24-hour things, was supra-consciousness, of just where really it is the whole, you know, where I'm just with God saying, and I use the God word and divine word. We can, of course, use, love and cosmos and universe and so on, whatever term we want to use. But okay, so this is the journey now. So presence at that level, wisdom at that level, power at that level, supporting, the work that really is no small agenda. It's just the big agenda, which is what wholeness is. These words you were using, and that's what this great shift is, where we're just all stretching into what is coming to us, what is our role, what is our station in life, and because it's so delicious. This is where, I found you again in my book, A New Universal Dream. I talk about this is really where I found the prosperity. I went out to Silicon Valley and I was sitting at the table with unbelievable Reed Hastings, Netflix, these kinds of people, but I didn't find that true prosperity there. I found it here, and what we're talking about, and that we could be in any part of the world, anywhere.
Yeah. And I know you've never been happier, have you?
Never been happier. That's right. Oh my gosh. It's really.
And I know your life isn't perfect, and yet you still have found contentment. That's what this journey is about, and possible for everyone.
Yeah. The challenges don't go away, but just it's how we, in the before, I'll call it, it's more of this roller coaster of, oh, this is a bad day, oh, this is a good day. The mind is kind of pulling the train. It's the logic of the mind, versus wisdom center of the soul, where we're just in this state of flow, and the challenges are there, but we're now feeling into, okay, this is how we'll be with this challenge. We're not going, doesn't pull us down. We stay right there in this state of flow, even as we're working through challenges. So, yeah, it's. There's so many things we could talk about here, and of course, this program. So, wisdom and guidance from beyond the veil. If anybody's just joining us, and then unlocking the intelligence of the afterlife is the program that follows that free program. Let's go take a look at a clip here now. This first clip is really awesome. And Suzanne talks about the value of sitting with yourself and other tools in the process of connecting with past loved ones. So let's look at this one, and then Suzanne and I are going to come back and talk about it.
We really can't control the mind. We can manage it somewhat, and tools such as these binaural beats and just plain sitting quietly with the intention of observing the thoughts is the key. This is what helped me when I started on this journey. I didn't know there was a greater reality, but my intention was to connect with the soul, with the spirit of my stepdaughter, Susan, who had passed. So I began sitting quietly with one sole focus, pun intended, to connect with Susan. I didn't know what I was doing years ago. I thought it might be meditation, but I hadn't studied it. And all I did was sit and say, Susan, I want to sense you. Susan, let me hear you. And then I would listen. Little did I know that that single-minded focus was training me to focus and hear beyond the physical world. Eventually, I did connect with Susan, but what I was doing was turning my intuition back up. It's always here within all of us. I was connecting with the soul. So the chatter is always there, but when we shut it out by focusing inward on one thing, be it the breath, be it tones in music, be it simply listening and noticing what's here, we discover another whole reality that is always here.
I love that, Suzanne, because that really, I'm guessing there are many viewers here that are saying, I'd like to be, where Suzanne is. And here you're talking about the stairway into that, where you were just starting with, hey, Suzanne, are you there? Which is where we all start, isn't it?
It is, and just listening to that pre-recorded section there, Steve, my guides even refined that more since we recorded that just about a week ago or so. I was sitting, and I have the intention every morning to listen to my guides and receive their message that I put in on the Daily Way app that we'll talk about later, that I have, my daily messages. But my mind was all over the place and wandering to the to-do list and things that had happened last night. And I said, what's going on here? And it was because just focusing on the breath and relaxing isn't enough. What has transformed my life is because I have expected from the beginning that if I set the intention to connect with my guides or with my loved ones, they're going to show up. So it requires that quiet listening and noticing who's here. And that's a beautiful focus for those of you whose mind wanders when you just pay attention to the breath. So then even when you're listening, Susan, are you here? My guides, do you have a message for me? You'll notice the to-do list and you say, that's not my intention. Let it go. And you go back to focusing. So this is huge for so many people that say, I just can't quiet my mind. Choose the focus of listening and watching for who is present in awareness from the greater reality. And then just imagine the wondrous things that will unfold when you start to notice them.
Yeah, boy, I love that. So, and intention is everything. You know, it's this conscious journey. It's all intentional, but bringing intention in here, where we're sitting in that meditation method. You know, with that intention, that's beautiful. Where it just is going to drive us straight into. You know, my dad showed up, my sister showed up. Even expectancy of expectancy, not in the way of they must, but in the way of I'm kind of connecting with or sending a signal to, or however you might explain that. But
I love that you use that word, Steve, because when I shared this insight last week with my assistant Bev, she added, when you teach that, Suzanne, I hope you'll tell people not to go in with any expectations of how those loved ones will show up or assumptions. They may not show up at all at first while you are in training, while you're training the mind to expand. And if you think they have to show up with their face, with words, you may be disappointed. So they may show up with just an image of something you never imagined. That's when you pull the thread and you say, why did I just see a ship's wheel? Is someone here? So it just goes like that. It's a flow, but watch those expectations and assumptions.
Yeah, yes. So when I've had my fathers, I've mentioned before, my father's dropped in, you know, many times, even my grandmother once, who I wasn't really close to. It was really an interesting experience. And then, you know, for my wife, who isn't even trying to tune in this way or with intention and so on, still the miraculous things happen, and she doesn't just dismiss them. Where I've shared these things before, right after her mother passed, this song that came to her looking down and this just beautiful Carpenter song that was such an extraordinary experience for Christmas. I framed the whole thing, a picture of both of them, the song, lyrics from the song, which she has now right up in our room. And then just in the last couple weeks, and her soul mate really throughout her life was her mom. Artie was her mom's name. And just in the last couple weeks, we were driving around. We had just the day before, on Mother's Day, brought flowers out to this site where her urn is. And we're driving around, and a car drives right by us with a license plate Artie. And I said, you know, we got to stop and acknowledge this. We don't want to just let that go. You know, Artie, man, she did a little work to put that license plate right there, and we want to shout out to her and have some fun here. Yeah. So, and this happens to everybody. So, and as you and Medium share, right, we don't want to just let these things go. It's a beautiful thing. We want to feel into these things, huh?
Oh, I keep a document called Awesome Spiritual Experiences, and I was just going through it last night. Hundreds of stories and experiences. And every once in a while, we just need that reminder when we get mired in the human story and our drama, and we forget what we are really part of. So any of those, what I call NOE, no other explanation stories that you have, and we all have them, write them down in a list. So they accumulate, and then it's the preponderance of the evidence that will just push you over the top from believing to knowing. This is real. You are not alone. Love never dies, and you are part of so much more than this physical world.
Yeah, boy, and the beautiful thing is, which we're talking about here now, is it's really a whole new life experience then, which maybe was the whole idea in the first place. Conversations with God says it wasn't enough to just be in the state of perfection, of the absolute realm with pure love. And we said, I want to experience that. And And so God says, okay, well, then that means you have to go down in the darkness. The light needs the darkness to know itself. And then boom, we come down. But where we can understand, that we wanted to come down, that this is why we came down, then we can just get on to this whole deliciousness in life instead of the way that most of us grew up with very different understandings that most of us had growing up.
That's right. I just read the concept of an escape room recently. I saw one in a city that I was visiting where you actually pay money to go in a room that they lock you in and you have to find clues to get out. I don't know. I'm mildly claustrophobic. I might have a fit with that. That is not something I would willingly do. But the analogy was that this life is like an escape room. We willingly go in and we have to figure out the clues to find our way out. But that's a game. It's part of the adventure. I love analogies for understanding why we would come here. Sometimes we have to question ourselves. And then as we come to these realizations, the joy of rediscovering who we really are just eclipses the challenges every time.
Yeah, boy, no kidding. The real, again, I call it deliciousness in life, or you could call it true prosperity or the treasure or whatever. We could find our own words, but we know.
Can I just say, I just got to say, Steve, that I know that a lot of people who are listening now have been drawn here because of a major tragedy in your life. Most likely that would be just like my family suffered, the death of someone so close to you that you just had the legs taken out from under you. So as we sit here talking about deliciousness and those kinds of words, trust us, we all know what you're going through. We've been there, but hopefully we'll model that you can be happy again and still honor those who have passed. This is our goal, for you to understand through the fact that death is not the end, that you will get through this and come out stronger for it, and know that you're not moving forward without your loved one. You're moving forward together because they are still here. I guarantee it.
Yeah, amen. And I share, truthfully on the air about my life. I'm talking about so many things that are wonderful, but I have a son, both of my kids were adopted at birth, who has pyroluria, and he's got the worst case they've ever seen of it, which is a biochemical imbalance that causes severe separation anxiety, and he's working through that now. So, that was by the design, by the way. I'm sure, there's nothing random that's ever happening. This is, there's something he brings to Stephanie and I, and we're definitely bringing to him as he works through it. So, yeah, I don't mean to portray that, life is all some bed of roses. It is, even here in this situation, it's all really about love. He loves us, we love him. You're helping him just walk this challenging path, when you're there and you say, I believe in you, and you're supporting him. So, or as you mentioned, somebody recently passed, which can be very, it's your mother, your father, sister, brother, or dear friend, that can be very challenging. Yeah, so we're not trying to go new age here, new age in the sense of ignore something, put our head in the sand.
It's about providing hope, Steve, and that's what we're doing. I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yes. So, okay, let's go look at this other little video clip that's extraordinary. It takes us into this kind of higher dimension that we're talking about here now, and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
We've come to know that death is not the end and that we are souls. So when I say to you, you are not only human, I hope that causes you to say, then what am I? And the answer is a soul, but so much more than that. Because souls, like humans, seem to be individual, separate things, and we are not things at all. Whether human in what we call physical form, or a soul as a spacious expression of energy and information, we are all expressions of the one field of being, one light, one source that expresses itself through limitless numbers of souls who then express themselves as individuated expressions of consciousness that we call human beings. All of this has been taught to me by tapping into that innate intelligence that is our birthright as souls. So you are not only human is the first thing to understand.
Okay, yes, taking us into the reality, and as you often, mention, yes, we're human, but we're much more than that. Yeah, is there anything more you want to add to that? That's was a beautiful clip.
Yes. Yes. So many people talk about I'm wounded, I'm broken. And the message of hope is at the level of the soul, you are whole and complete. We use language and it's mistaken. My soul is broken. No, it's impossible. Your soul is a being of light. You can't break light. You can't tear light. So tap into your wholeness and know what the soul is trying to get through to your human awareness now. You matter. You are worthy. As a human, we make mistakes, but there's another level where we can just dissolve our human focus and tap into that soul awareness and just breathe for a minute and then come back into this reality with a new mindset, a new viewpoint, bringing that soul's love with us, and that changes everything.
Amen. Yeah, and of course, Neil Donald Walsh, the Conversations with God, he's the co-founder of Humanity's Team. The Conversations with God series brings through this. You are a part of me. I am not without you. We are all one. And then, but I get a kick out of the scientists. Where Nassim Haramein with his Resonance Science Foundation, his unified field research, where he's walking around an apostle of this. My God, the universe can't be without you. You are inseparable from the universe. You need to stand tall. You need to walk in good posture. You have unbelievable power. You are a part of the universe. And so the scientists have got this same, if you want to call it gospel, the same awareness.
Yeah.
So, which brings us back to...
Can I use what you just said there for a little bit of teaching? My guides taught me, just like our heart beats while we're here, the BPM, beats per minute, is a great reminder to yourself that you are always connected. B stands for breathing, and P stands for that posture you just talked about, Steve, and M stands for mindfulness. Now, what does posture have to do with it? I go out to walk our dogs first thing in the morning. My husband and I each take one dog, and you're like this in the morning. And the second I catch myself just being a little tired, I just stand tall, I put my shoulders back, and that movement just reminds me, yes, my body may be tired, but I'm connected to spirit right now. What a joy there is in knowing that. So I have taught myself the action of putting my shoulders back with good posture brings me into awareness. I am the light in expression. So I'd love everybody to just try that right now. Just change your posture, and with it, shift your awareness to, I'm already whole and complete. We can do this and take control of our inner power at any time. Posture. What a simple thing. And we're just feeling better already.
Oh, man. Yes. Yes, it is true. Beautiful. So beautiful. And we can do it in any moment and in every moment. So, which is the whole invitation. So let me just share now that free program that I referenced, so Wisdom and Guidance from Beyond the Veil, the very first viewing of that, it's actually next Tuesday, so the 20th, next Tuesday, it's at 5 p.m. Pacific, that's 8 p.m. Eastern, that we will do that first broadcast, and I think you're with us, Suzanne, I think.
I believe so. I checked my travel schedule. I think I'll be somewhere in Arizona, I think. I'm not sure, but I'll be there.
So we're going to have live Q&A. So when you sign up for that, for Wisdom and Guidance from Beyond the Veil, we'll be with you next Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific. And Suzanne, I think Evan and Karen are with us too, live to answer questions. So, boy, you're going to get, you will enjoy that. Now, we are flooded with questions here. So let me get to some of them. Somebody wants to come on camera, so we'll have this person come on camera too. These are people in the green room, so our Humanity Stream Plus subscriber members. So Garam asked, can you elaborate what loved ones can and cannot do from across the veil? Seems like can is send a butterfly or bird at the right moment, transmit a thought or insight, and then cannot maybe is fix your plumbing, how much ability to affect physicality? That's interesting. That's an interesting question, isn't it?
It is a great question. And if this world is like a simulation or a virtual reality, it has certain rules like gravity and time, linear time. And what goes up must go down. So they are not allowed to manipulate those rules too much. They can play with it a little bit, like making your lights flicker to let you know they're here, turning your television on, that sort of thing. There is an occasional thing called an apport, where physical objects show up where they weren't moments before. My assistant Lynette was sitting in a public restroom and a coin just fell down out of nowhere. It was a sign from her husband. I know her. I trust her integrity and her honesty. I know that happened. That's called an apport. So your loved ones can part the veil just enough to get your attention, shift your worldview enough so that your journey continues, because you've just got to know, how was that possible? But they can't part it so much that game over, the jig's up. It's really just part of a bigger reality. We have to figure that out for ourselves.
Yeah, beautiful. Boy, what a great question. Yeah, where you think about where are the limits of this, of what they can do. There's so much that they can do in terms of helping, supporting, guiding. Sometimes I use this term, and I'll bring in, God and the Holy Spirit and Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, of just autonomous living, which is kind of how it feels, where I really get in that zone, where I'm in that flow, just that whole omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence, it's there, and I can just stay in that flow, and then even feel the guardrails when I bump up against a side of I just drifted out a little bit. I can feel that about time to bring it back to center, so.
Great. That's the way to live.
Okay, let me bring in this question from Nicole, and she says, question for the host: the more I do the work and connect with my team, the less I have a desire to earn a living. I no longer connect to the society pattern of working to earn money, yet I can't live this experience without that concept. Do you want to respond to that here, Suzanne?
Yes, I believe it comes back to being in this world and not of it, that the universe will provide. There are many stories of people that just gave it all up and literally went across the country with no money just to see how the universe would provide. And they were miraculously taken care of by other people who gave them meals and such. But part of our rule set in this reality, which we've all chosen as a group, this shared reality, is that we do help each other. We earn money. That's a tool that we have. So we realize that we are co-creators, and with the desire to live in a certain way, you can see how far you can go with that, but honoring the rules of the game as we go along. It's finding that balance.
Yes. So, and just I'll add, so for me, I use sometimes this term boomerang effect. And the more I'm up there, just at that pure agenda, serving it, the more I'm just finding, this thing just thrown back at me, with some gift, some opportunity, some resource. And I'll say, again, it was like the Artie thing of, we don't want to let these things pass and just ignore them. You want to say, oh my God, this is, a mirror. Thank you, thank you,
Mirror,
Spirit.
yeah,
Thank you,
love
Source.
that.
Thank you, guides. Thank you, where we are, we've all heard this thing, give unto the kingdom, right? And then all things are given unto you. This is another thing where we're serving that pure agenda. Boy, that pure agenda is saying, let's take good care of this one, that's really in here supporting. And and there's no favorites, except that we're all favorites. We're all favorites.
One of my favorite quotes from Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, is, do not pursue success. Success will ensue from a dedication to a source greater than yourself, or a cause greater than yourself. Isn't that great? I mean, if we just open our hearts and know why we're here, to serve, to love each other fully, if that's your dedication, then success will ensue. Whatever that means to you, however success shows up for you. We're getting away from mediumship and wisdom and guidance, but don't you see how it's all part of that?
Yeah, this is what you're walked into. Yeah, this is what, and I think really if you and Eben and Karen were sitting down, that you would say this is really the journey and what we're walking into as a destination, which is, that's the whole beauty of the program, is it just helps to elevate us from these more basic understandings that we had, which were incomplete growing up, of I'm a physical body, I will go to bone, the body will go to bones and dust, and it'll go 6 feet under, all true, you know. But these higher teachings really bring in then this opportunity that we're trying to put words around now, where we live into more the fullness of who we are, you know, our oneness, really.
Yeah, I call joy one. I call oneness and God joy. And so even in the midst of all these challenges, everything that we're talking about here carries with it an energy of joy that goes beyond the human definition of joy. It is that deliciousness that is underlying everything. So even when things do go to hell in this human life, which they do, you know it's there. It's like this spring that's running underground, and you can just tap into it when you need it, so you don't despair anymore. That's what I want for all of you.
Okay. Oh boy. So there we go.
You with me, Steve?
There we go. I'm with you. Yeah, my I have a corded speaker. My microphone is not corded, but it unplugged. So sorry, I missed the last part of what you heard, but I know it was brilliant. So okay. Well,
we'll let the spirit be the judge of that.
Okay, so here's what Hilda has to share. And Sean, we're going to have you come on camera in just a moment. So Hilda says, don't you think we should let spiritual beings leave the earth level and let them do a higher consciousness, that they are higher levels than the earthly ones? Since my son was killed, his wife goes to the burial 3 times a week to talk to him. So that's interesting. So part of what Hilda's bringing in is, should we just be leaving them alone because they want to go to a higher consciousness place? That's an interesting question.
It's such a great question. I've connected with thousands of souls who have crossed the veil, and they all tell us they can multitask way better than we can, that we are not holding them back from anything. They are in multiple places at once. They're taking care of their own ongoing soul's journey, and yet when we think of them, we don't hold them back. They feel our love. They feel our connection. They want to be helpful to us. So don't give that a second thought. Anytime you think of them, they're just present with you, and vice versa. When your loved ones think of you, which they do often, it's often why you think of them in that moment. This relationship is what life is all about. Why would you want to sever that relationship? It's how we as souls grow, through interacting. And that awake and wait principle number 2, you're part of one big web that extends across the veil. So please continue the relationship. Otherwise, you're missing out opportunities for growth.
Yeah, so it's not like a hotel where there's a little sign that says, do not enter, or don't come in. Or
do not disturb.
Do not disturb.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you call your mother now, she's still in physical form. If she's busy, or you text someone, they just won't answer right now. It's the same way with spirit. They'll get back to you when they can. Right. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. So Diane says, I have a question about the amount of soul that is present still in my 90-year-old mother with dementia, who is limited in being present, but not in a coma. I have the sense that part of her is gone on, and that's how I speak with her now. Another really interesting question. Diane. It's really great. And watch how language limits us again. It's not a matter of having the soul or an amount of soul. That is always the same. You are always fully a soul. What's limited or unlimited is the awareness of yourself as a soul. And what's really interesting is talking to those across the veil who passed from Alzheimer's or dementia. They've told me that while they disengaged from this reality, they were actually more aware of their soul. They're already playing more as a soul. So while you may feel that they don't understand what's going on here, they may be having a really great time at the soul level. So I hope that understanding is helpful to people and brings you peace.
Yeah, beautiful. Boy, and here where Eben comes in as proof of heaven, this program, this masterclass that he created with us, Wow, it sounds pretty delightful. I mean, it doesn't sound like we're going to a challenging place here in the afterlife, huh? Sounds like
And I love that in story. I spoke to a woman in a coma and asked for evidence. I got so much off the chart information about her life that I couldn't have known, that shows me that whether a person appears unconscious or even when the body dies, as many people who have had near-death experiences show, the soul is just fine and having great adventures. So I feel that's very hopeful and very helpful to us here.
Yeah, no kidding. Certainly don't need to be fearing death and stuff. Okay, so we'll go then to this. Let's go to Sean, actually, who wanted to come on camera. So we're going to bring Sean on camera. There you are, Sean. Hi, good to see you.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you too.
Great. Hi, Suzanne, you had actually kind of answered the question already. I think I put it in the chat beforehand, just talking about, our animals, and obviously they're our family as well. I lost my little guy. We also have an RV and we travel in our RV. And then here's my puppy. He's with my dad. We're up in the Grand Canyon, and he died at age 10. Suddenly last year, and actually it's a year ago today. So, but it was his last Wednesday. Yeah. And so, I absolutely feel connected with him. I just wanted to get your, take on that, and kind of the anniversary syndrome things that I think that we go through here on this plane.
Whether it's a pet or our human loved ones, those dates, it's part of our human rule set that we put so much importance on them. And our loved ones who have passed really are closer than on special dates, like the day they died, their birthday, because we are thinking of them so much then. Not that it's that important date. That's why they draw so near. But as for pets, I've connected with numerous pets, not a whole lot because that's not my focus. But when they're just like family members, they come through with beautiful evidence. And I have 2 little dachshunds who cross the veil, and they have come through to me with beautiful evidence as well. So there's no doubt that our pets are still around us after they pass. They tell us there's no place they'd rather be. Yeah. So just trust that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to share one quick thing. It was when he had passed, and we were up north Arizona because we're in Phoenix. And then the very next day on the hiking path, we met these people, and they have a cattle dog, and our dog's a cattle dog. And I just said, we've got to stay behind. I can't, if I go near them, I'm going to start bawling and crying, And sure enough, they were kind of fiddle faddling on the trail because they were getting dog bags ready and everything. And so we had no choice but to kind of interact with them. Anyway, these 2 folks became our really good friends. They live down here in the valley too. And then their cattle dogs kind of become like a little adoptee for us. And we were meant to meet them. And we were like, they brought us together with these
setup.
The very next day, the day after he passed, I was like, wow. So it was pretty amazing. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yay,
Thank you.
NOE, absolutely.
NOE.
Yeah. Sean, thank you for coming on camera.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And so we have a question here from Teresa. And she says, do you perceive we return in our next lifetime from our place of knowing that we transitioned at? It seems in my awakening, which was an NDE, it was such a quickening, and now I'm building upon that. I'm not sure I'm totally understanding that question, but do you perceive we return?
Yeah, I feel it's two different situations. Those from the literature and talking to so many people at conferences who have had near-death experiences, they come back from having passed into this lifetime with permanent changes in their lives because you just can't help but have a different viewpoint. They bring that with them. But our next lifetime in physical form after an incarnation, I'd love everybody to please understand that it's not all or nothing. You take, as a soul, you incarnate many, many times. And so you take what you learn in one lifetime and that expands throughout the soul. But that lifetime that you completed will always be accessible to your loved ones and any medium because it still exists, even after part of that soul now decides to reincarnate. So don't feel that, oh, what if my loved one reincarnates and I pass, they won't be there to greet me? Not so at all. The soul is so much more than just this one lifetime. The creative possibilities are endless. So the soul will take what was experienced and learned during this lifetime and add it to that next lifetime. But this one here, still accessible.
Yeah, boy, so this term sometimes that is used, multidimensional being, yeah, is so true. And there's only the moment of now. And I had an interesting thing happen. There's a friend that lives here in Boulder that shares my birthday. I've actually known him for all the way. He was back in Silicon Valley days, so he's known me then and knows me now, which makes for an interesting experience. I was telling him all about our work and the book and things, and he said, I haven't told anybody this since it happened, and this was a long time ago. But he said, I lived in Phoenix, and in my younger years, and a date brought me to a program where somebody was regressing people back to earlier lives. And he said, I confess, I was in the back, going, oh, this is such baloney. There were 3 people regressed back. And then the person walked around the room to feel into energy and said, would you, sir, come to the front of the room, please? And so he got up and went to the front of the room and was regressed back to like caveman years, where he could feel that very primitive environment, his 2 kids, his wife, and even his death with a spear. And he said, I've never really shared this, but
that personal experience is definitely that personal to each of us. I hear that, and I still have that left brain military mind that says, okay, where's the evidence? How did that play out in this life? But that man had that experience, and nothing can take that away from him now, that we are multidimensional, like you say, Steve.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's so rich, isn't it? This whole, when we talk about your work and Eben Alexander's bringing in, and Karen Newell, and it's just so rich, where we go beyond just the more basic understandings that we were taught, through grade school, college, etc. Now, as we're coming into these teachings around multidimensional being, soul, oneness, universe that is one.
I speak a lot about what I call the 3 E's of living the awakened way. And this program that you're offering, Steve, really offers that. The first E is educate yourself about the greater reality, about who you are, about how the brain works, about what mediumship is, about binaural beats, everything this program offers, about near-death experiences. Educate yourself. That's what Humanity's team is so good at, offering all these opportunities. Then experience for yourself, because you can read all about it, you can watch all the videos in the world, but nothing's going to change you like your own personal experience. And that's where the tools that I love to teach people, like the Bless Me method, the Sip of the Divine, so many tools that have helped me and helped thousands of others, are helpful in giving you the personal experience of you as beyond this physical body, you as part of a greater reality, the afterlife being real for you. And then the third E is engage higher consciousness for yourself. Don't just sit there saying, oh, I'm experiencing something awesome. Now say, oh my gosh, is that you, Dad, across the veil? What do you have to say? What are you learning? Oh my gosh, this is my guide. Is that what I've been feeling all along? What do you have to show me to make my life easier? Engage them. So it's not linear experience or educate, experience, engage. It's an ongoing process of flow. And that's how we evolve.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. The 3 E's. Okay, so let's come back to some key things. So Wisdom and Guidance from Beyond the Veil, very first showing, Tuesday the 20th, next week, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Sign up and then join us, and Suzanne and Eben and Karen are going to be there live to answer questions. Then this program that we'll tell you about during that broadcast, Unlocking the Intelligence of the Afterlife, this brand new masterclass that has 24 video trainings. You'll be told about that, and you can decide if that is for you. Suzanne is doing all of these incredible programs with Humanity's team that are on this platform. It's part of it's really, we call it a community even before we call it a platform, but it's called Humanity Stream Plus. And I was checking this morning, Suzanne now has 78 programs on the Humanity Stream Plus platform. And if you want to see each of them and go, so Humanity Stream members, check this out. There's a search feature, as you know, in the library. Go to search, type in Suzanne Giesemann. All 78 programs will come up, and you can click on any of them and go into them. She did this incredible program remember last summer with Patricia Cota-Robles, which is extraordinary. Boy, so you want to check that out. But she's done so many extraordinary programs with Humanities Team and is part of a rich part of this whole Humanities Stream Plus community and platform. And as you know, as a nonprofit, we're putting it out. We want it in every home on the planet. We're taking it through translation everywhere. We even, since we're a nonprofit, we have a 1-for-1 program. So each paid subscription generates a free subscription for somebody out in the world that's on the conscious journey. And even though we try and make it as affordable as we can, keep bringing that price down, there's some people outside of the US that just plain can't afford it. And so we give it away to those people. Our particular mandate was make conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. So that's in 17 years. It's a big lift. And boy, you put a community like this, platform like this with all these video trainings out into every home, guess what? You can't even watch 10 of these teachings, and there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them without really getting what this whole conscious living thing is. We put different words into it because there's this diversity, of course, in unity and oneness, which is so beautiful. And that we try and capture that by, there's a best practice we didn't have. Let's get that embodied practice up on the platform. So we created 55 new programs last year. We're on pace to put 55 more new programs on this year. That's programs. So like there are 24 video trainings in this one new program that we're bringing on now. So, you really, there aren't hours in the day to watch all of these, but so you get to cherry pick, go in and say, Suzanne Giesemann's for me, go into search, pull up her 78 programs, and voila, you open the treasure chest with all of the beautiful teachings she has. We're just about out of time here, Suzanne. Boy, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
It's a pleasure. I just honor my husband, who I always tell him we have to drop what we're doing. We got to do the work. We got to do the work. And he's been just so supportive of this because he sees the change that it makes, not only in our personal lives, but in the lives that we're touching. And I thank all of you for being part of this community. It's all about love, and the love that flows back and forth is just phenomenal.
Yes, it is. It is. That's what it is. In a word, it's all about love. Yeah. And the back and forth and just being in this whole relational world where we get to create as much of that, experience as much of that as we possibly can, and participate in this great shift. Boy, won't it be beautiful when we leave the planet and we can say, existential crisis, not a term anymore. This planet is on a glide path, to this beautiful new future for our kids and future generations. Hooray, I can leave in peace. So that's one of the things we're doing now together. So, okay, well, thank you so much, Suzanne.
I just like everybody to realize that one person does make a difference. We're all like light bulbs next to each other. And as our light goes on, it turns the whole light up brighter. We are just turning that dimmer switch up, one person at a time, and it's picking up speed. And don't ever give up hope, because you make a difference, truly.
Yes, you do. By the way, this is my Awakened Way app on my phone, and we have to have Suzanne talk about it before we close this program. Wow, what an extraordinary app. I use it every day. Do you want to talk a little bit? And it's a free program.
Yeah, it's free. It's where I put the daily messages from Spirit. There are over 5,000 of them in the treasury. You get a fresh one every day just to remind you about being on this journey, to inspire you. It's wisdom straight from the Spirit team. And then you get to push a button and say, what do I need to hear today? And it randomly, and there's nothing random, pulls exactly what message you may need to hear that day, along with other goodies. Like I said, perfectly free, no strings attached whatsoever. Just go to your smartphone apps and app store and look up Awakened Way. It's people are really enjoying it. I'm glad you are too, Steve.
Yeah, Awakened Way. Don't miss it. What a jewel. Yeah, nice work creating that app there, Suzanne. So, and thank your spirit guides who were bringing in that content.
And my technological guru, Jayesh Mitha, it was his idea on his grief journey after the passing of his brother. He had this inspiration because he said that the teachings from my guide Sanaya so helped him on his journey that he wanted to design that. And look, that's that boomerang effect. Steve never even asked for it, and it just came back, and we were able to offer it free by me upgrading a few systems, and it's a blessing.
Yeah, boy, and it really works well too, to get the technology to work right. Even I'm going to introduce on camera here in 1 second our producer. These live programs are like this, an app on your phone. Not easy to make sure they're always working, and it does. The apps, we're always working with this great content. So on that note, yeah, let's back up the camera, and I want to introduce here Jim Gray. That's me on the couch. That's Jim over there. He's our producer, so brings us in live from wherever we might be each week. Jim, thank you. And let me thank Garth Catterall, Nanette Kennedy, Dee Meyer, Andy Guski, Abby, so Karen, so all of the people on our team that make this program possible. Thank you, friends. And to viewers, everybody in the green room, I'll wave again. I can see you all on camera. Some of you are on camera. Thank you for being with us. All right, makes it a lot more fun where we're just here with people, on camera. Wow, and there's so many of you. We've got a big green room here today. So thanks for being with us, everybody. If you're out again on social media, on Facebook, to Suzanne's community, Humanities Team, Sign Network, thank you all for being with us here today. We're back next week. I think I've got Eben Alexander and Karen Newell with me next Wednesday at the same time, 9 a.m. Pacific. But the day before, Tuesday the 20th, 5 p.m. Pacific, I'm back with Karen, Suzanne, and Eben for the very first broadcast of Wisdom and Guidance from Beyond the Veil. Hope to see many of you there with us. Okay, thanks everybody, and have a great rest of week. And we'll be with you next week here a couple of times. Take care. Godspeed.